Hey there. So the 41st gene key of emanation is extraordinary. It's one of the most beautiful ones in that it speaks directly to that primordial radiance of being that is at the heart of everything. And that breathes, and in breathing it expands and it emanates its truth, its being, its grace. At the shadow level, it shows up as fantasy. And since we're, basically concerned with our human experience, at the low frequency level, fantasy is the inability to realize your dream. And so the dream remains ungrounded and disconnected from the totality. It's ineffectual, kind of like a soap bubble that's just going to pop, boom, and then it's gone. Or maybe that soap bubble is our lifetime, right? In the grand scheme of things. And yet this capacity to fantasize, to dream, is so beautiful if we can but ground it. And this brings to mind the axis, the vertical axis, and the spinal column, and the chakra system, and a tree, the roots of a tree, and how a seed lands on the ground and then sprouts and begins to germinate as, it makes its roots, and then it starts to also seek the sun. And this seeking of the sun is also describing the gift of anticipation, which is that the future is within the seed of the dream. And so there's this capacity, this kind of prescience of seeing beyond the confines of what we call time, the current epoch or whatever. And this is what pulls us forward into a better future, this beautiful gene key of emanation. It's talking about the gene keys is kind of, it's a funny exercise because the cities are all beyond words, and yet we're still using words, right? At this level of existence right now, we're not yet like dolphins that kind of beam holograms through each other with their sonar. And so we have these vessels, these crafts, these geometries, of language to describe one thing, our experience, our consciousness. And then we notice that there's different frequency bands depending. And the lower frequencies, which are the shadow frequencies, are associated with suffering, with the inability to have that sight of the whole. And it's a sight that comes from the very depth, so it includes all of the inner worlds, and what gestates there, what's coming on the horizon. What do you see, in the inner spheres of your consciousness, of your being? And what you see there, the marvels, the beautiful innovations are then your gifts. You can anticipate them and then bring them because you're also anticipating that the gifts are going to be useful for the world, are going to enrich it and beautify it. It's like, there's no anticipation in recreating past mistakes. That's kind of like the definition of insanity. And actually, insanity is kind of synonym for fantasy, right? But at that seed level, it's a beautiful thing because it holds all of that potential. And then as the frequency rises, as the consciousness grounds and roots, so I invite you to come all the way down to the lowest, deepest parts of your being, the root chakras, and then out through the soles of the feet. To breathe all the way down to the soles of your feet and to the palms of the hand. And as you do this, as I do this, as we do it together, all of this energy that might have been trapped in the ungrounded, unrealistic, and disconnected fantasies then connects tangibly with the denser lower realm where we are actually existing as human beings, and allows us to anticipate what next. And as we do this, we connect. What next is an inquiry, which, when paradoxically done in the present moment, connects us directly with the prime emanation of our being, which is universal. We are, each one of us, as crazy as it may sound, as phantasmagoric as it may sound, each one of us is an expression of the infinite. And so inside we know already. And as we allow this consciousness to ground now, the seed to fall and root within our own being, and so our breath goes all the way down to the soles of the feet and radiates this beautiful radiance out, allows us to anticipate what next, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. What next? It's that kind of thing. It's like, it's all about love. It's all about goodness and truth and beauty. And then this what next connects us to this primordial emanation, which is at the root itself of everything and of all the other cities. And that the beautiful word of emanation does a pretty good job describing. I know that in the text, Richard Rudd said something about, well, this could be also called the wordless city. Well, it could be. That's a really beautiful word too. Wordless. Ineffable. Emanation. And it's what you are. It's within your being. It's not some kind of lofty outer thing that you have to go pursue. You don't have to change anything of your own being. Maybe change what you're doing and go from doing to being, and then you can go back to doing again, right? What next? But that your doing emanate from your being, and being is only now. And so this is the invitation. It's all, it's the same party. Every Gene Key is inviting you to the same party. It's just that it does so in a different way. And that's good, because we may not hear, we may not be sensitive, responsive, in resonance with a certain tone, a certain kind of invitation, right? And at one point, at a certain moment, one comes to us and we're like, yeah, what next? Oh yeah, I like that. And so the 41st, whether or not you have it in your profile doesn't matter. I know if you have it in your profile, good for you. I don't have it in my profile, and it's one of my favorites. And remember, we have all the Gene Keys inside of us anyway. In a way, the hologenetic profile is a personalized map, is a personalized board game. It's a game. It's a personalized, this one's going to fit, and it does. It works really well. This one's going to fit you really well because you're going to go from here to here to here, and it corresponds to who you think you are. And at the end of the day, where you get to is, is much, much way beyond the game. Because it's in every moment. And the reason I say this is I really deeply wish to simplify things. To simplify things in coherency with the truth of what is, which is within me and within you and everywhere. So it's an invitation to keep it simple, to remember that it's simple, and that doesn't mean that complexity isn't beautiful or can be, it's like we can create all sorts of fantabulous, phantasmagorical, beautiful, very, very detailed creations, like mandalas, and each one has a center, and the center is from where that emanates, and that's what this is about. So it reminds us, it brings us back in that way to the center. So may all of your dreams and your fantasies, and they will eventually anyway, thankfully, this is the grace of our being here. However far out I may stray at a certain point, the universe being curved, I come back to myself. However far I've gone, I come back to myself, and if I relax, as I relax, coming back to myself, I sink, and then I ground, and then I root, and then I breathe, and then I begin to anticipate what's next, what's coming next, what am I going to grow into, this kind of thing. We could go on and on. It's meant to be embodied. It's meant to be felt. Like you can feel your heartbeat. It's meant to be, digested and absorbed, concentrated. You concentrate yourself here in the lower belly, and that concentration has a beautiful emanation, and it frees you. The concentration is like a plumb line that's going to help you, like the firemen when they go down the pole. It's going to help you get out of the head. There's nothing wrong with the head. It's full of fantasies, and sometimes it can be, like too much. Remember the King of the Moon, Robin Williams? He had to tie his head on to his neck because otherwise it would go off, and then he probably didn't make very wise decisions. So emanation and anticipation are profoundly wise, far-seeing and appropriate to the betterment of all. It's the ultimate gift. Emanation, in a way, is the ultimate. It's the ultimate promise. It's the ultimate gift, and it's what you are. You already are it, and I already am it, and that's just that's such good news. So yeah, share it with everybody. Oh, and by the way, whilst we're on the subject, please, remember to like the video and share it. I was speaking of, in a broader sense, but now I'm coming back to the basics of this stuff. Share the video, and then if you wish to comment, or if you have questions, or to enrich, the conversation, our co-creation, our collective intelligence is what we're doing here. So, your comments are welcome, and I'm very grateful for your being, whoever you are. You inspire me to do these videos. It's like, oh, we didn't have YouTube 100 years ago. Maybe then we would have been writing a book that was printed on a press on paper, and then this is like a different medium that somebody anticipated would become useful, and here it is, and all of us can self-publish ourselves. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So, yeah, let's all speak up. like the beautiful little beings in Horton Hears a Who. We are here, we are here, we are here. It's the prime emanation. Thank you so much for your attention, and hasta pronto.